Faithful. I'm here joined with Dani Sureck, Arizona Cardinals team reporter. Dani, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I know we're supposed to be enemies, but I'm excited
right?
to get to talk with you.
I know. We're out here representing the NFC West, so super excited and pumped that you're here. We're in the thick of it right now in Indianapolis, so let's just jump right into it. This is, not your first roundabout when it comes to combines. From your perspective, what is Combine Week like?
It's a great week. The days are very, very long, but very fun and exciting, and the week is long. But it's a great opportunity for a lot of different reasons. One, to get to talk to and hear from prospects and get an idea of maybe formal interviews that they've had or where they like to play if they're a versatile player and how they could fit into the team scheme that you cover. It's also fun to get to talk to national reporters and kind of get a feel of what they're hearing around the grapevine, how that connects to maybe what the Cardinals could do, maybe what they're hearing about the 49ers. And then it's also fun to socialize a little, but also network with people from around the league. And it's a fun week, and I'm always excited to be out here. Yeah,
it feels like everyone is here. We had Super Bowl week, and then all of a sudden we're out here, and it's like you're seeing the same people. So it's definitely awesome to hear from everyone, see all the familiar faces we see, and meet some new ones. But kind of pivoting towards the Cardinals, you guys have had a lot of turnover in the past few months and a lot of storylines that are coming out of that. Is there a specific direction that you feel the Cardinals are going to prioritize come this draft cycle?
It's a good question. It's a question I'm trying to get answered as well while we are out here. Good news for the Cardinals is the deeper class of edge rushers is a need for them. And then there's a few offensive tackles that are projected to go pretty high. And offensive line is also a need for the Cardinals. Elephant in the room is what's the decision going to be around the quarterback with Kyler Murray. Decision's going to be made in the next few weeks. The fifth day of the new league year, March 16th, is when he would be guaranteed almost $20 million from the 2027 year of his contract. So Cardinals could very well keep Murray, especially this transition phase with the new head coach and Mike LaFleur and trying to get things on track pretty quickly. And then there's also the options of a trade or a release. So I don't have an answer for that, unfortunately. I'm not that high up the food chain, but that'll have to be the first domino to fall.
Definitely.
But when it comes to the draft, I don't really feel that the decision at quarterback is necessarily going to drastically change whether or not if it is an edge rusher or an offensive lineman per se. Regardless of who is under center, you need him to stay upright. You need a good, clean pocket, so an offensive lineman would make sense. And as important as it is to protect the quarterback, it is equally as important to get to the quarterback. So an edge rusher, someone opposite of Josh Sweat, who had a great season last year, his first year in Arizona, would be a really big get for the Cardinals, especially in the toughest division in the NFL, in the NFC West, right? I mean, you got to get to a Brock Purdy, you got to get to a Sam Darnold, a Matthew Stafford. So really both of those positions are where I would really where I would expect to see maybe those conversations continue around the league of where people might expect the Cardinals to go if they stay at 3.
Definitely. A lot of storylines are going to unfold as we see the draft day come up as we're approaching that date. You're mentioning these big-time quarterbacks in the NFC West and how competitive this division really is and how difficult it is. From your perspective, why is that?
It's a great question. I just think the competition level is so high, and I think you've got a range of quarterback skill sets, right? Nobody else plays like Kyler Murray. Matthew Stafford plays incredibly different. And then Seattle brings in Sam Darnold, who had a lot of question marks around that decision and goes and leads the team to the Super Bowl. Just as much as there's competition, though, with the players, the competition with the coaches. And that's something that I think really intrigued the Cardinals front office of hiring Mike LaFleur as the offensive coordinator in under Sean McVay is it's tough to beat a Sean McVay team. It's tough to beat a Kyle Shanahan team. And LaFleur is someone who actually has experience under both of those coaching trees. And again, Seattle, who are the reigning Super Bowl champs, so they're up there as a tough team to beat. The competition level is just really, really high. And again, I think the coaches and their ability to not just design plays or make adjustments in game, but their ability to prep throughout the week. That's a conversation we have twice a year on our podcast and our TV show when the Cardinals play the 49ers is how much of a pain they are, because regardless of who is on the field, it could be somebody that they signed off the streets 2 days prior. Shanahan is going to have his players prepped and ready to go. It really doesn't matter who is on there in terms of where they fall in the depth chart. If they're out there on the field, they're making plays.
Definitely. We have that next man up mentality for sure in that locker room, and I got your back. From an opposing perspective, looking at the 49ers roster in this upcoming season, what stands out to you? I know you touched on, the coaches and everything, but from a roster standpoint, what stands out to you?
Well, I think that the 49ers have a good amount of those foundational pieces, especially on offense. you guys just dealt with some bad luck on injuries, especially on defense. I mean, it was against the Cardinals where, James Conner goes down. It's the same game that Nick Bosa goes down, and Fred Warner dealing with injuries. And similar to the Cardinals, the difference was I think the 49ers were able to handle that adversity a little bit better and more consistently. So it's a scary team when they are at full strength. But I do think that San Francisco has the right pieces. And you've got a George Kittle, right, who's right up there with Trey McBride as one of the best tight ends in the league. Ricky Pearsall, who's had some really nice games and some spectacular one-on-one catches in the contested moments. Yeah. So I think it's going to continue to be a competitive matchup between those two teams, and hopefully for Cardinals fans, I'm not sure many 49ers fans would agree or want to hear this, hopefully a little more competitive from Arizona's standpoint under Mike LaFleur.
I mean, honestly, every game that we play against you guys usually is pretty competitive. It's usually right up there. But speaking about past games, the NFL recently announced that the 49ers will head back to Mexico City in 2026, this upcoming season. The last time we were there, we played you guys in 2022. Talk about that environment and what that was like and the fan base from that standpoint.
International games are so fun because, we're in this bubble in the NFL, and football is so big here in the States. And the fact that the league is trying to grow the game internationally, it's really cool to see that come to fruition.
Right.
And between the 49ers and the Cardinals specifically, those are two organizations that have marketing rights in Mexico. So while it's fun to go to any international game, right, as an employee, it's fun to go somewhere where there are actually fans of the teams that are playing. And that was a really fun atmosphere to be playing at Estadio Azteca a few years ago. Now, the game didn't end the way that Cardinals fans would have liked, and it was rainy, and it was a long trip back. But it is such a unique and fun experience. And again, being able to be in that sort of environment with fans who don't get that sort of in-person experience often, you can really feel the excitement and the joy they have getting that unique experience on their end.
Super cool. They're getting to watch a game not just through a lens, but really in person and see these players in person. So it's a really cool experience, and I'm super excited. I hope the faithful fan base is super excited to go back as well.
Maybe it'll be a third 49ers-Cardinals matchup in Mexico City.
Maybe so. Maybe we'll see you down there. That'd be super exciting. Pivoting just a little bit back to Combine Week specifically, when you're in the thick of it and, you're a scout or you're a routine reporter out here, how much of it is following what the other divisional opponents are doing behind the scenes?
At the Combine, it's not so much what the other teams around you are doing, because the process you want to follow is what's going to work best for our team, right?
Yeah,
and for the Cardinals, you don't want to build a team based around how are we just going to beat the 49ers or the Rams or the Seahawks. Now, that's incredibly important. That's an area the Cardinals absolutely want to improve in. Winning your division is the best way to get into the playoffs. It's a guaranteed way to get into the playoffs. But you want to trust your own process, and you want to make sure that things are happening naturally, and you're bringing in the right sort of players who are also the right sort of people and being a right culture fit. And in an ideal world, the right type of person and culture fit schematically for the Cardinals is also someone who's going to help them be more competitive within the toughest division in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. Got to stay authentic. I think that's definitely something that translates well across all the teams in the NFL and across the league. Is there anything this past week, I know it's only Thursday, workouts have just started, but anything that has surprised you about possibly the direction of where the Cardinals are looking to go?
Not much of a surprise. I mean, offensive line and edge rusher have been two positions that have been highly linked to the Cardinals since their season ended, and especially now as a lot of more mock drafts are being put out there now that the season has ended after the Super Bowl. I'm not sure with the first round, the third overall pick, if things will veer towards maybe Caleb Downs as a safety or Jeremiah Love, right? One of those skill set positions that might not fit for the Cardinals at number 3. It'll just be more so like what sort of specific skill sets, what sort of details between maybe the top 3 edge rushers that would fit best for the Cardinals schematically. But I'm not sure that anything is going to be super crazy at the third overall picks, as that's where the Cardinals stay, mostly because it's a non-quarterback heavy draft. That's typically the trickle-down effect. So the fact that it's really expected to just be Fernando Mendoza at number 1 to the Raiders provides Arizona with a lot of opportunities at what they want to do at the top of the board.
Definitely, and I'm going to let you go here soon. I know that there's a lot going on. You got a lot going on in your schedule, a lot to unfold in the next few days. But if you were to describe this next season, the NFC West, in one word, what word are you giving it?
Tough. brutal, difficult, right?
All the synonyms.
So far, we haven't seen a lot of moves. I mean, free agency is still to come, but there's not expected to be a lot of drastic changes for these teams. Now, that could change, especially with Seattle losing Clint Kubiak going to Vegas, and as a few staffs still get finalized with, before the draft and free agency and all of that. But I'm expecting it to be just as tough as it's been before, even more so when teams like the 49ers and hopefully the Cardinals get healthy and you can be more full strength. But that's what makes it fun, right?
Makes it exciting,
being in the toughest division, the
things.
NFC West, always expecting a great matchup between the teams. So regardless, we have fun.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have the best day and rest of your Combine week. And thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course.